Welcome to the Inner Whisper, your sacred pause to come back to yourself. Thank you for being here, for taking this moment. Last week, we explored the idea that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. And when I started seeing life that way, this question came up. What did I do with what happened to me? Not as a concept, as lived experience. Because when something affects us deeply, we don't just go through it. Very often, we identify with it. And without realizing it, we start living from that moment. Maybe the event is over. Maybe the chapter ended long time ago. But inside, something's still active. We react as if we were still there. We feel with the same intensity. We move through life from a wound that hasn't fully been integrated. This whisper is not here to tell you it's time to let go. It's here to gently help you notice where you're living from. Trauma doesn't stay alive because the event is still happening. It stays alive because our inner system learned how to organize itself around what happened. And that system is not just the body, it's how we feel, how we think, how we interpret the world, and how we tell ourselves who we are. Trauma is active when we react before we can choose. When emotion shows up with an intensity that doesn't match the moment. I'm sure this happened to you. When something small triggers a response that feels much bigger. You may be safe today. Your life may look completely different, and still, a tone of voice, a silence, a comment, and the body tightens. The emotions surge. The mind starts racing. In those moments, we are not responding to the present. We are responding from the past. That's why it matters to say this clearly. Active trauma is not just a memory, it's a state. And when someone lives in survival mode for a long time, that state can start to feel like identity. Not because we want to be a victim, not because we don't want to heal, but because survival worked. The alertness, the control, the mistrust, the pulling back, the sadness that lingers. And believe me when I say, all of this had a purpose. The issue isn't that these responses formed. The issue is continuing to live from them when they're no longer needed. Healing isn't repeating the story, and it's not denying it either. When trauma is still alive, what most needed is not explanation. It's containment, it's regulation, time. This whisper is not asking you to change anything today. It's simply inviting you to recognize with compassion that what you may still be living is not the present. It's a wound that hasn't fully been integrated yet. And recognizing that is already healing. I want to share these 3 pathways to help you start integrating what hurt. First pathway, noticing when the present is not what hurts. The first step is not fixing anything, is differentiating. Not everything that gets activated now belongs to now. Sometimes the body or emotions react as if the danger is still here, even when the situation has passed. Being able to say and to recognize this is not coming from this moment starts to separate what was from what is. And that small separation is awareness. The second path, listening to the wound instead of fighting it. Once you recognize that the pain comes from the past, the question is not, how do I get rid of this? It becomes, what is this showing me about myself? In my own healing, everything shifted when I stopped fighting my reactions and started listening to my shadows. Not to justify the pain, but to understand it. Trauma is often unlistened information. Part of us that were formed to protect us and to survive. When we stop treating those parts as flaws and begin seeing them as messengers, as teachers, something changes. And the third pathway, integrating so the past stops running the show. Listening doesn't mean staying stuck. Integration means giving the past a place without letting it rule the present. When a wound is acknowledged, it doesn't need to drive every decision. And healing is not erasing what happened. That's impossible. It's allowing what you lived to become wisdom instead of reaction. That is how the past stops organizing your life. So let's offer the body a different experience. Not to relive anything, just to begin releasing what no longer needs to be held. Find a comfortable position. Relax your shoulders. We breathe through the nose and exhale through the mouth with a sigh. The first breath. Inhale and imagine a warm light entering your chest. Exhale and allow that area to soften just a little. Second deep breath. Inhale, letting that light reach a place where you have been holding too much. And exhale, imagining something loosening. Third breath. Inhale, letting the light move through your whole body, looking for other areas of tension. And let go, allowing whatever has released to be received by the earth. Let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. Give your body a moment to integrate. If today you realize that some of what you are living doesn't belong to the present, that's not a setback, that's awareness. You're not failing for feeling. You're listening to something that once needed to be silenced to survive. Healing isn't rushing forward. It's letting the wound stop running your life. As trauma educator and mindfulness teacher Ruth King reminds us, healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about no longer living organized around it. This doesn't ask you to erase the past. It simply invites you to give it its proper place. So I want to leave you with this mantra. You can repeat it with me or just in your head. I honor what I lived without living from it. Thank you for being here with me. If this whisper resonated, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. You can also read me on Substack at innerlightpath.substack.com. You're welcome to reflect in the comments. What experience are you ready to begin integrating? And if this episode spoke to you, like it, share it. Have an amazing week. I'll see you soon. Until then, love deeply, shine brightly, and embrace your journey. Ciao.